Hey guys, can you guess what car I'm in? I bet you can. You probably clicked on the thumbnail. That's right, I'm in the brand new 2019 Edge ST, and this is the way of the future. This is the new face of Ford. As you know, they're getting rid of most of their cars in North America, so cars like the Fiesta ST, the Focus ST, and even the RS are going away. And now we're going to be driving fast crossovers. And coming up next on the Fast Lane Car, I'm going to give you the top 10 things you need to know about the brand new 2019 Ford Edge ST. All right, let's start with number 10, and that's an easy one. All the car makers are always chasing white space. What is white space? Well, that's just some place where no other car maker is building a vehicle, and this is, well, the definition of white space. Nothing really competes with this. Sure, you may be thinking there's a Porsche Macan or an Audi that competes with it, but those are premium cars. The closest you could probably get to competing with this car is a Jeep Grand Cherokee SRT or maybe a Durango SRT, and the Jeep starts at $64,000. The Durango, well, that's a V8, of course, and that starts at $69,000. All right, Tom, we're sitting in the new Ford Edge ST, which replaces the outgoing Ford Edge Sport. You said there are 4 things to define an ST. What are those?
Well, first and foremost, it's the engine performance.
Yep.
And the sporty suspension.
How have you changed that?
Well, we've done a number of things to suspension. We've taken the front springs, we've increased the stiffness by around 10%.
Okay.
Taken the rear springs, increased its stiffness around 20%. We've taken the stay bars. We've gone from a hollow to a solid stay bar.
And number 9 is the fact that you can no longer buy a Ford Edge Sport. That's right, the ST replaces the Sport, and it does so with more horsepower and more torque. In fact, this car has 20 more horses under the hood and 30 more pound-foot of torque. What does that mean? Well, let's open up the hood and tell you. Under the hood is a 2.7-liter V6 EcoBoost with not one but 2 turbochargers that puts out 335 horsepower and 380 pound-foot of torque. It is mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission that's paired to paddle shifters. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same basic engine that's under the hood of the F-150. In fact, it's one of my favorite engines that Ford produces. So what happens when you take a truck engine, and you know that only in America would we take a truck engine and put it under the hood of a crossover? Well, I had a chance to chat with the chief engineer of this car, so why don't I let him explain. And obviously when you tune the engine for a truck, you're looking at hauling, you're looking at towing, right?
Correct.
So how do you change it for a car? Or in this case, a crossover?
It's, for the performance, you want to match it to the performance of the vehicle. What are we trying to target? You want to match it to its suspension, make sure that it's delivering on its promise. You want to match it to how the vehicle looks on the exterior, how the interior, and how you overall feel. So for us, it's making sure that we apply that 380 pound-feet of torque using the 8-speed transmission, and we use our gear ratios to provide both balance of acceleration as well as for the customers who buy this vehicle, and they buy it more than just the enthusiasts, they buy it for the utility. They want to make sure that they have a vehicle that they can have fun and drive, take the long way home every once in a while, but still have some utility with the vehicle. And with that, we want to make sure we don't compromise the fuel economy. So with this vehicle, we've done a number of things to make sure that the highway fuel economy in particular stays, it was 2 mpg improvement over the outgoing.
And 21 combined, right?
21 combined.
I'm putting it in sport mode. And number 7 is the fact that this vehicle, as Ford calls it, has noise cancellation technology. Basically, what the car does is it takes the unwanted engine noise, the stuff that's either unpleasant or harsh or uncomfortable to the ear, and like a set of Bose noise canceling headphones, deletes it. And then, here's the part that many of you may not like, it actually enhances the engine note. So it takes, according to Ford, the good engine sound that's already coming out of this 2.7 liter and makes it a little bit more pronounced, a little bit more guttural, a little bit more, fun. Because as a performance car, you want that. Now you may be wondering, how fast is this bad boy? Ford says 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds, and I'm guessing what, 5.9? top speed of 130 miles an hour, and I'm also guessing that that is electronically limited and not drag limited, because with 335 horsepower and these big bad Pirelli P0s, I bet this car could go faster, because oftentimes, of course, the vehicle is limited not by the aerodynamics but by the tires, and these are very aggressive tires, and they come as part of the performance package. So I'm sitting behind myself as always, and the great thing about American cars is they have a lot of room, and this one has a lot of room. Headroom is a little bit tight because of this massive sunroof, but otherwise plenty of leg room. And in case you're wondering, there is a built-in charger for your phone in this cubby hole, and of course Sync does both navigation and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Front-facing camera and rear-facing camera. Look at that. Both ways. And of course navigation. Number 4 is the fact that this car does not have adjustable suspension. Once upon a time, I had an old Z, and that had 3 suspension modes. Sport, which would jar your teeth out, Comfort, which would make the car wallowy, and Normal. And since then, manufacturers have gotten a lot better, so they've made suspension that's very customizable. So Sport really is sporty and Comfort really is comfortable, but now I think it's almost gone too far. The Germans especially love to allow you to tune the car to any personal preference you want, including making the steering different from the throttle response, from the suspension shifting points. And you know what, I'm kind of full circle on that. I kind of like the fact that this car has one suspension setup and one suspension setup only. It means that I can't pick it, but you know, it's like one of those restaurants, like the Mongolian barbecue place, where you go and you decide that you want this kind of noodle and this kind of meat. At some point, I just want the chef to cook the meal, and I'm pretty happy with Ford dialing in the suspension settings. I mean, that's what they're known for. Let me have the chief engineer once again explain.
We've also taken a number of things to our shocks. We've gone from a twin tube to a monotube as well. Helps with the overall body control as well as the drive performance and the dynamics of the vehicle. So we've done a lot of things on the suspension end, and then with the brake package as part of the overall suspension. We've gone with vented rotors. We've gone with more performance in our pads.
Number 2 is the fact that this car has all-wheel drive, but not just any form of all-wheel drive. The car can actually appropriate up to 100% of its power to the front wheels, like when you're on the highway and you don't want to use a lot of fuel, so you don't want all 4 wheels engaged, or almost 100% of its power and torque to the rear wheels. It cannot, however, shift power left to right, just front to back. Hey, by the way, guys, I'm here with Chris. Say hi, Chris.
What's going on?
What's your channel, dude?
Auto Academics. YouTube.com/AutoAcademics.
So he's being a great helper here, and I thought it was only fair for me to kind of point the camera at him. So let's go back to this and talk about the fact that in sport mode, what I'm hearing is being piped through the speakers and not necessarily through the engine compartment. I think that's fair. So I interrupt this video for a quick correction and update. First, Ford was kind enough to take us to the home of Ken Block and Hoonigan Racing. It's right here. And there's a video of some of the cars that Ken Block drives on TFL Now. I'll do a link to that up here. And I was talking to one of the engineers, and I got it wrong, guys. This car does have torque vectoring via braking left to right. So it can appropriate power front and back, and then when you're going around a corner, it can brake the inside wheel to make it a little bit more lively. So correction and an additional video at no additional cost. And number 1 has to be the fact that safety is now standard. There's a full suite of safety tech that comes with the ST, and once again, you know what, let me have the chief engineer explain, because he just spent the last couple of years actually developing this stuff, and he can probably explain it better than I can.
We've got a number of technologies that we've standardized for our vehicles, and we've offered a number of new technologies that are part of our driver assist package as well. And in particular, the lane centering system is another one that we have on our vehicle that we think the customers are really going to enjoy.
And that's basically you're driving along and you're in the lane, and the car knows what the 2 lane markers are and keeps you in the center of the lane.
Uses the camera that's right here,
yeah.
Takes a look at the road ahead of you, monitors the white markings on either side. It just gives you a little torque to the steering wheel. The other thing I didn't mention on the suspension is what we also do with the steering is give you a little firmer feel. Again, part of that whole experience that we're trying to do for you.
Can you drive it with no hands on the wheel?
No, we don't encourage that.
You don't allow that.
We want to make sure that it's a safe environment. We will help. We will driver assist. We're not going to take the driving experience away. Particularly in this vehicle, we're not looking to take the driving experience. We're looking to enhance your driving experience.
So you want to keep those hands on the wheel.
That's right. And the other thing we do with this vehicle is we do have a sport mode in our
I
transmission.
saw that, yeah, an S.
So you hit the S button and you get a number of things. You get the tachometer that shows up in the dash because we know you're not concerned about fuel economy at that point.
Right.
You want to, yes, you got paddle shifters for your shift on the fly is how you want to command it. We give you a better throttle response, so if you get more responsive when you're into the throttle, and we also change your shift points on the transmission so you can stay a little bit longer in terms of into particular gear.
And so in the screen in here, when you press it once, you'll see that it turns traction control off.
Yeah.
So it always defaults to normal. Right? Traction control off. If you double tap it, it will go into advanced track sport mode. This is the new mode for Edge ST. So Fiesta and Focus ST don't have this mode. And then the press and hold will turn pretty much everything off other than like roll stability control and
So this is butt clenching, you're on your own mode.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it will keep like it will keep the systems on that will enable you not to get into serious trouble, but it will loosen it up and allow you to have a lot of fun.
And number one has to be the price. The Ford Edge ST starts at just over $43,000. But if you want that one, you know, the one with all the bells and whistles in the performance package, that's $55,000. The car is built in Ontario, Canada. And if you can't wait to get your hands on one, you don't have to wait long because they are arriving at your local Ford dealership as we speak. As always, this is Roman saying thanks for watching. Remember, check out tflcar.com for more news, views, and of course, more top 10 things you need to know about the Ford Edge ST reviews. See you guys next time. Ciao. As you know, at TFL, we always like to do a bonus, and since this is basically an engine out of the F-150, and since Ford has given up, for the most part, building cars, they're going to do what they do best, and that is tow. That's right. There's a towing package that comes with every ST, and it can tow up to 3,500 pounds, which isn't quite up to Ford F-150 levels, but nevertheless, if you've got an ATV, maybe a small side-by-side, this guy can tow it.